Are taking front and center this morning at the White House. President Trump is set to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to explain the next chapter of U.S. engagement in the Middle East. We're joined by Daniel Byman, director of the Warfare, Irregular Threats, and Terrorism Program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies and a professor at Georgetown University. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so Daniel, let's talk a little bit about what you would expect would be happening and be talked about today. 6:30 Eastern Time is when the president is expected to meet with the prime minister. What are you watching for?
So there's going to be a victory lap for what both leaders say has been a very successful military campaign against Iran. And in addition to that very public demonstration of victory, there are going to be two main issues. One is what's next with Iran, what might a negotiated deal look like, and the other is a deal, possibly a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas while Israeli hostages are released. All right,
so which comes first here? Is it the Iran, or is it all tied together because Iran is known to support Hamas?
So Iran certainly supports Hamas and has supported a wide range of other terrorist groups in the Middle East. In the past, Israel has opposed negotiations with Iran, while the Trump administration and other U.S. administrations have engaged in negotiations. So a lot's going to depend on really what's being negotiated and how tough a deal the Trump administration is going to push.
All right, so should people look at this and remain hopeful that this will tamp down, that a deal could be reached on specifically the Iran-Israel battle that played out? And how will the U.S.'s intervention by bombing reportedly those nuclear sites in Iran play into all of this?
So a huge question, which we still don't know the answer to, is just how devastated is Iran's program. Some estimates say it can be rebuilt in a matter of months. Others say a couple of years. And that's going to be a huge issue to resolve. But also with that is what kind of restrictions are going to be put on Iran and what deal is realistic. And President Trump has very much said he wants a deal at different times, while the Israelis have been more skeptical.
All right, so who has the upper hand in this case at this particular point, in your point of view?
So the Iranians very much want a deal. They've been hit militarily. Their economy is a disaster. They're internationally isolated. So it's really a question of how far can they be pushed. And they're in a weak spot, but that doesn't mean they'll agree to every demand the United States and Israel asks of them.
Is it interesting here that we only have meeting at the White House today the Israeli prime minister and not a representative from Iran? Albeit we have a regular relationship with Iran, but we're only seeing the president meet with Israel right now. Is it fair to say that this might be a lopsided initiative here?
It's certainly possible. Sometimes these meetings produce demands that really have no chance of success at the negotiating table. What I would look to is the much more quiet conversation that I'm sure President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu are going to have about not what they're going to say in public, but what they're going to demand behind the scenes when U.S. representatives directly or indirectly meet with Iranian representatives.
All right. So all in all here, is this something that is maybe just something that they are meeting to show some sort of unity on, or do you expect something to actually come out of all of this?
So publicly, there is going to be a lot of unity, and there might even be an announcement of some sort of at least temporary ceasefire in Gaza, which I think would be very welcome. So I think publicly it's going to be very successful. But privately, there will be disagreement, but that's perfectly normal. Of course, when two different countries meet, they don't agree on everything. So it's really an opportunity to exchange views and to try to make sure that both countries are on the same page.
Well, it's supposed to be a private meeting, so we'll see what U.S. officials say about this when it does happen a little later on this evening, 6:30 East Coast time. Daniel Byman, director of the Warfare, Irregular Threats, and Terrorism Program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.